John. Yes, Daddy. Are you done with the homework? Ah, no, Daddy. It's mathematics. Hey, it's killing me. I can't do this homework, Daddy. I think let me just find something to eat. Then I will do it later. Okay, John. Let me download Mangeya's video on YouTube. Then you watch it and do your homework. Ah, Daddy, that's a great idea. Let me just come right away, Daddy. I'll watch him, then do my homework now. I will eat later. I'm no longer hungry anymore, Daddy. My friend, your solution is come. Mangeya, the maths ego. Alright. This one is an advanced level mathematics. Topic solving inequalities. Cambridge, Zimsec. Enjoy. Right. So on this one, I'll work out questions. So just be following up, right? So be following up as the ego will be working out question by question for you. Okay. Right. So the first question, let me increase the size here. Nice one. Right. So the first question is 2x squared. That's question number 1. 2x squared minus 7x is greater than minus 3. So how can we solve inequalities at an advanced level? Okay, so the first thing, basically what you have to make sure is the right side, they must be always 0. So you have to collect all terms to the left side of the inequality in this case. Right, so let's collect. This one is minus 3. You can put it on the left side, so it will be 2x squared minus 7x then plus 3 is greater than 0. Then after that, what are you supposed to do? You factorize this side. You find the factors this side. Right, so this one, you multiply 2x squared times plus 3. What do you get? Plus 6x squared. Something like this. Then what are the factors or the numbers, two numbers, which when you multiply gives us plus 6, and when we add or subtract, they give us minus 7x. Then value at the middle. This one, I'm sure you've done this stuff at O level. At O level. Right, so the numbers in this case, if I can just look, it's minus 6x and minus x. Those are the two values. So to factorize, you replace the middle value, which is minus 7x, with those two numbers. Right, so let me replace 2x squared is minus 6x, then minus x, plus 3 is greater than 0, like this. Then you factorize on this part. You factor out 2x, then you'll be left with x minus 3. On this one, you factor out 1, then you'll be left with x minus 3 greater than 0. Then you write x minus 3, 2x minus 1 is greater than 0, like this. Then you find what are known as critical values of x. What are the critical values? You find them by taking the first bracket. You say x minus 3 is equal to 0. Then also the second bracket, you say 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Right, on this one, the first one, it will be x is equal to 3. So 3 is the critical value. Then on this one, 2x is equal to 1. Then it will be x is equal to half. If you can divide, so half or 0.5 is another critical value. Right, then to find the solution of this equation, there are actually two ways how you can find the solution. The first method or way is just to use a symbol graph. I will use that one. Then the other one, you can use a table of signs. So let me just use a symbol graph. Symbol graph, I draw my x-axis here. Then I will draw my quadratic graph. Well, this one is a quadratic graph. Quadratic equations are in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. In this case, there's a greater than sign. So the equation is actually, or the inequality is actually in the form of a quadratic equation. So you just solve it the quadratic way. Right. So that's the general form of a quadratic graph. Then, after you've drawn something like this, you then go back to your inequality sign. What was the sign? Is this one, greater than. So greater than, it means the area or the solution that you are looking for. Basically, the graph is supposed to be above the x-axis. That's greater than. Less than, it means below the x-axis. So in this case, it's greater than. Right, so on this part, you put your lowest value. Critical value, in this case, it's half. On this part, you put the 3. That is the bigger one. Then after that, you shade the area that is above the x-axis. So this one is greater than this one. This part also is greater than the x-axis. So your solution will be from minus half going this side, or from 3 going this side. So it will be x is less than, let me write it properly, x less than, so it's x less than half, and or union x greater than 3, like this one. You can put or here instead of putting union, whichever you like, still it works. Right, so that's the first part. Then the second part, or the second question actually, question number 2, it's x minus 2, then x minus 3, then x minus 5 is greater than 0, like this. Right, remember, the first stage basically is to factorize. It is actually to collect terms to one side. In this case, it can be to the left side, is what I have done on the first question. Then after that, you factorize. After factorizing, then you find the critical values. Then you can draw your table or a simple graph if it's a quadratic equation. So in this case, it's already factorized. So right away, we can go straight into finding the critical values. So what are the critical values? So you take this one, this first bracket, x minus 2 is equal to 0. The second bracket, x minus 3 is equal to 0. The third bracket, x minus 5 is equal to 0. Then from this first equation, you get x is equal to 2. On the second one, you get x is equal to 3. On the third one, you get x is equal to 5, like this. So these are the critical values. We have 2, 3, and 5. You can write critical values. Then we have 2, we have 3, and we have 5. So this one is actually a cubic function. It's not a quadratic equation. So you don't have to use the graph, but instead we can use a table. Okay, let me draw the table here. The table, it will be like this. So it's on the table of signs. Right, so the first part, let me write it like this. So the first part, it must be x less than the smallest number. X less than the smallest number on the critical values actually. Which one is the smallest one? It's 2. X less than 2. Then the second one, x between 2 and 3. X lies between 2 and 3, in that order. Then the third one, x between 3 and 5. X lies between 3 and 5. Then finally, you say x greater than the largest number. In this case, it's 5, like this. Right, then you are done. Then the next thing that you have to do, you have to check your, on this part. Let me use a different ink here. On this part, you have to check your factors actually, right? You take the first one, which is x minus 2, then you put your line. Then the second one, which is x minus 3, then you put your line. Then the third one, which is x minus 5, then you put your line like this. Then at the end here, you can just put all the factors representing our function, x minus 2, x minus 3, and x minus 5. So what would be the final sign of our function? Right. So let's do this one. So what you do is you use these values on top here. These are the things that you use, the inequalities. So on the first part, you can use these are test values, right? They are actually called test values. So you take a number that is less than minus 2 and you check on this one. You put on x here any number that is less than that is less than 2, right? If you can put or substitute x with any number that is less than minus 2, are we going to get a negative number or a positive number? So take for example 0 is less than 2, right? If you can put 0 where there is x, it will be 0 minus 2. What will be the answer? It will actually be minus 2. So the answer that we will get actually matters. We want the sign of the answer that we will get. So in this case, the answer will be negative. So you put a negative sign here, right? Then you move on to the next, this one, the value of x, or the test value, which is between 2 and 3. So if you can put, for example, 2.5 is between 2 and 3. So substitute 2.5 where there is x here. 2.5 minus 2, you get plus 0.5. So the answer will be positive. So you put a positive sign there, right? You move on to the next one. Between 3 and 5, x lies between 3 and 5. So between 3 and 5, there is 4. So you can use or take 4 as a test value. Substitute where there is x here. 4 minus 2 is plus 2. So the answer will be positive, right? Then finally, or the last one, x greater than 5, you put, for example, 6. So you put 6 where there is x, it will be 6 minus 2. 6 minus 2 is what? It's plus 4. So the answer will be positive. So you are done with this row. You move on to the next or second row, right? The test value on this one, remember I've decided to take, let me write the test values. Here I took 0. On this one I took 2.5. We just want to use the same values. Then here I used 4. Then on this one I used 6. Like this. Right. Let's move on to so these are the test values, remember. You can write it like this, or you can, even writing it will make sense actually. Then let's move on to the next part. X minus 3. So on this one, if you can put 0 here, it will be 0 minus 3. It will be a negative answer. Then a number between 2 and 3, 2.5 in this case, substitute where there is x here. So you get 2.5 minus 3, you actually get minus 0.5. So the answer will be negative. Then move on, x lies between 3 and 5. You can take 4 in this case, that's the test value. Then you say 4 minus 3 is plus 1. So the answer will be positive. Then x greater than 5, take 6. 6 minus 3 is plus 3. So the answer will be positive. Then move to the third row. X minus 5. X minus 5. Right, first you put 0 where there is x. It will be 0 minus 5. It will be minus 5. So the answer will be negative. Then next, you put 2.5. 2.5 minus 5 is minus 2.5. It's negative. Then you take 4. 4 minus 5 is minus 1. It's negative. Then you take 6. You put 6. 6 minus 5 it's plus 1. It's positive. Then what will be the final sign of our function? In this case, if we can take, let me use a different ink. If you can take this minus and this minus, it will become a plus, and this minus. So minus, 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 3 minus signs, 2 will cancel out to become a plus. So the final will be a minus. We'll be left with a minus sign here. Right, then on the next or the second column, you take a plus here and a minus here and a minus. So plus, minus, minus, you get a plus. Both minus, minus, it will become a plus. So the final answer here, it will be a plus, our final sign. Then a plus, and a minus. What will be the final sign? It's actually a minus. Then a plus, and a plus. It's obviously a plus sign. Right. Now, you go back to your inequality. In this case, it was greater than here. Right. So it was greater than. So greater than, you take positive sign. If it was less than, you were supposed to take the negative signs. So this one is actually greater than. So the solutions will be this one and this one. So what is up there is the solution that you have to take. So in this case, you take this one and this one. So it will be solution is x lies between 2 and 3. Union or you can just say or, then x greater than 5. You're done. So just like that. That's how you solve inequalities. Right. Another example. Let me take this one. Number 3. It's x minus 2 bracket, then x plus 1 over x minus 1 is less than 0. Right. So on this one, it's already factorized. What you just have to do right away is to find the critical values. So you take this one on top, x minus 2 first is equals to 0. Then you take x plus 1 is equals to 0. Then the denominator, x minus 1 is equals to 0. On this one, you find x is equals to 2. Then x is equals to minus 1. X is equals to 1. Then the critical values, you write them. Critical values. Critical. It's you start with the smallest one. It's minus 1, then 1, and 2. These are the 3 critical values that we have. So these are the critical values that we have. Then we prepare our table. Let me prepare our table. So the table will look like this. Right. So the first one, it will be x less than the smallest number, which is minus 1. Then the next one, x lies between minus 1 and the next one, which is 1. Right, next one, x lies between 1 and 2. Then last one, you take x greater than the greatest number, which is 2 in this case. Right, like this. Right, then on this side, let me just put my lines here. 1, 2, they were about 3, 4. Right, then you take your values. In this case, we have x minus 2, x plus 1, and x minus 1. So you write x minus 2, then you write x plus 1, then you write x minus 1. Then down there, you write your function is x minus 2, x plus 1 over x minus 1. So we want to determine the signs that will be on our function. Right. Then the test values, okay, let me just put the test values in this case. Test values. Right. X less than minus 1, we can take minus 2. Then x between minus 1 and 1, we can use 0. X between 1 and 2, we can use 1.5. X greater than 2, we can use 3 as our test values. Right. So the first one, on the first row, where there is x minus 2, we can put x minus 2. What do we get? Minus 2 minus 2. The answer will be negative. Then put 0 where there is x. So it will be 0 minus 2. The answer will be negative. Then put 1.5. 1.5 minus 2 is minus 0.5. It will be negative. Then put 3 where there is x. 3 minus 2 is plus 1. The answer will be positive. Please take note. We are not much worried with the answer. So the answer actually is not a problem. But the sign that the answer carries is the one that matters the most. Is the one that we have to write here. Right, then second row, this one where there is is actually the third row where there is x plus 1. Right, x plus 1, you put x minus 2, you get a negative answer. It's minus 1, yes. Then you put x0, you get a positive answer. Then put x 1.5, 1.5 plus 1, you get a positive answer. Then put x3, 3 plus 1 is 4, is positive. Right? The next row, where there's x minus 1, put x minus 2. It will be minus 2 minus 1, minus 3 is negative answer. Then put x0, 0 minus 1 is negative. Put x 1.5 is positive. Put x3 is positive. Aha. Now let's determine the answer, the signs of our function. Right. Minus, minus, minus. There are three minus signs here. Minus, minus, and minus. What do we get? The final will be a minus. Then minus, plus, and minus. It will be a plus. Minus, plus, plus. It will be a minus here. Then plus, plus, plus. Obviously, it will be a plus. Then you go up there to check your sign, your inequality sign. Is it greater than or less than? This one is less than. So less than, you take the negative solutions. So the negative solutions, we have this one here and this one. These are the negative solutions. And you take the values here and you take this value here. So this value, that will be the solution. You say x less than minus 1 or x lies between between 1 and 2. So this will be the solution. You are done. Just like this. Right. Then moving on to the next question. Next question. Question number 4. Let me write it as it's x minus x cubed is less than 0. Right. So the first step actually is to make sure the right side of the inequality is 0. Like in this case, it's already 0. So just move right away into factorization. So let's factorize the left side. It will be x, then x. If you can factorize here, you get 1 minus, 1 minus x squared is less than 0. Right. Then from your O level, this value expression inside the bracket is actually a difference of 2 squares. You have to factorize it again. It's not yet fully factorized. So factorizing a difference of 2 squares, you get 1 minus x. You just take the square root, then 1 plus x less than 0. So we have factorized. Now finding the critical values. So you take this x first, you say x is equal to 0, then you take 1 minus x is equal to 0, then you take 1 plus x is equal to 0, then you find the critical values. So this one, it will be x is equal to 0, or this one, if you can simplify, it's you can say 1 is equal to x, so x is equal to 1. On this one, you can just say right away x is equal to minus 1. Then you write the critical values. Right, so the critical values, we start with the smallest one. It's minus 1, then 0, and 1. Right. On this one, let's use a table signs. Let me draw my table here. it will appear like, oh, let me erase this one, beta diagram, right? Then the first one, let me put it here, my table, right? So the first one, it will be x less than the smallest number, which is -1, then followed by x lies between actually these numbers -1 and 0, then x lies between 0 and 1, then the last one, x greater than the bigger number, which is 1 in this case, then done. Right, so right, let's move on right away. You take our factors. Our factors we have here, these are the factors. So first we have x. Let me this one, let me put test values here. Let me put a row of test values first. I think that will be better. Then the first factor is x, followed by 1 minus x, followed by 1 plus x, like this. And finally, you write our function here. It will be x, 1 minus x, then 1 plus x. So what will be the sign that will be taken by our function? Right, so test values, x less than -1, you can take -2 or even -3, any number that is less than -1. Then x between -1 and 0, you can take -0.5. Then x between 0 and 1, you can take 0.5 here. X greater than 1, you can take 3, whichever number that you can take, but as long as is greater than 1. Right, then from there, let's determine our signs now. Right, so on the first one, if you can put -2 where there's x, what do you get? It will just be -2. So the answer will be negative. Then you put -0.5, it will be negative answer. You put 0.5, it will be positive. You put 3, it will be again positive. Right, then this row where there's 1 minus x, if you can put -2 where there's x, it will be 1 minus -2. 1 minus -2 is 1 plus 2, which is 3 positive. Then if you can put -0.5, it will be 1 minus -0.5. You get a positive answer there. Then put 0.5 where there's x, it will be 1 minus 0.5. It will be 0.5 positive. Then you put, if you can put 3, 1 minus 3 is actually -2, which is negative. Right, then moving down, where there's 1 plus x, you put -2 where there's x, it will be 1 minus 2, it will actually be -1, which is negative. Then put -0.5, 1 minus 0.5 is plus 0.5 is positive. Put 0.5, if you can put 0.5 there, 1 plus 0.5 is positive sign, you get a positive answer. Then put 3, you also get a positive. Right, then the final sign of our function, minus plus minus, you get a plus here. Then minus plus minus, a minus plus plus, you get a minus. Then plus plus plus, you get a plus. Then plus minus plus, you get a minus, like this. Then you go up there to check your sign, inequality sign. This one is actually less than. So less than, you take the negative signs. So here we have this one and this one. These are the two negative signs. So those are the solutions. So you write your solution, -1, x lies between -1 and 0, or x greater than 1. So these are the solutions to this inequality. You are done. Right. Let me do one more example. It's supposed to be 4. The fourth one. Right. This one, I can take, for example, this one. 1 over x minus 1 less than 1 over x plus 1. Something like this. Right. So the first step is to make sure the right side of the inequality is actually 0. So you have to take 1x minus 1. You take this one, 1 over x minus x plus 1. You put it on the left side like this. Then you put under one denominator. Put under one denominator. So in this case, it will be x minus 1, then x plus 1, like this. Then you say x minus 1 into this one, x minus 1, x plus 1. Then you get x plus 1. It will multiply 1 on the numerator. 1 times x plus 1, then minus x plus 1 into x minus 1, x plus 1. It will actually be x minus 1. Then it will multiply the number on the numerator there, like this. Right, remove the brackets. Let me just work it out here. Please maintain your denominator. X minus 1, x plus 1. Then less than 0. Then simplify, they remove the bracket. It will be x plus 1 minus x plus 1. Like this. Then simplify the numerator. You get actually here. Maintain the denominator. First, your denominator less than 0. So x minus x is 0. Then 1 plus 1 is 2. So you'll be left with something like this. Then the critical values, you take x minus 1 is equals to 0. Then x plus 1 is equals to 0. Please, don't worry about that too. You ignore it, right? There's no x there. There's no x. So critical values are found where there is x. Right. Then the critical values, you get x is equals to 1 and x is equals to minus 1. Those are the critical values. So you write critical values. Critical values, you get the first one is minus 1 and 1, like this. Right. Then you draw your table of signs. Right, the first one, it will be x less than the smallest number, which is minus 1 in this case. Then x lies between minus 1 and 1. Then finally, you say x greater than the biggest number. In this case, it's 1. Then you take your factors. You take them right away from here. Let me change my ink. You take them from here. So we have x minus 1 and x plus 1. So you write x minus 1 here. But before that, let me put the the test values. The test values. Test values first. It will be better that way. Right, then you put here x minus 1 followed by x plus 1. X plus 1. Then you write your function here is 2 over x minus 1, x plus 1. I want to determine the sign that it will take. Right, so in this case, let's move on to find the test values. The first one, x less than minus 1, we can take minus 2 or even minus 3. It works. Any number. Then x between minus 1 and 1, there is 0. Then x greater than 1, you can take 2 or 3. Still it works. Right. Then let's move on to determine the signs now. The first one is what? X minus 1. Right, if you can put minus 2 where there is x, it will be minus 2 minus 1. It will actually be 1. Minus 3, which is negative. You put 0 where there is x. 0 minus 1 is negative answer. 3 minus 1 is positive 2. You don't write 2 here. What you write is the what? Is the sign, right? So it's positive 2. Like this. Right, then you move on to this one, x plus 1. You put minus 2 where there is x, you get a negative answer. You put 0, you get positive. You put 3, you get positive. 3 plus 1 is 4. Right, then what will be the sign of our function? Minus minus, what do you get? A plus here. Minus plus, it's a minus. Plus plus, it's a plus. Then you move up there, you check our sign. Yes, our sign is actually less than. It's even here. It's less than. So which means you take the negative, which is right here. So the solution will be up there. So this one, we take this one, solution will be there. So solution, you write x lies between minus 1 and 1. That will be the solution. Done. Right. Let me take one more here. One more question. Right. Let me take, for example, if it's x minus 1, it was supposed to be number 5, I think. X minus 1 over x plus 1 is greater than x over 6. X minus 1 over x plus 1 is greater than x over 6. Okay, so the same rule applies. Make sure the right side of the inequality there is 0. So you have to move x over 6 to the left side. It will be x minus 1 over x plus 1 minus x over 6 is greater than 0. Then put under one denominator, it will be 6, then x plus 1. That's the common denominator. Then it will be x plus 1 into this one, you get 6. Then 6 multiply x minus 1. Then minus 6 into this one, it will actually be x plus 1. Because 6 into 6 times x plus 1, you get x plus 1. Then multiply the x, the numerator, x plus 1 greater than 0. Right. Remove the brackets on the numerator. Maintain the denominator. It will be 6x, 6 times minus 1, minus 6. Then minus x times x, it will be minus x squared. Then this one, it will be minus x. Then greater than 0. For the sake of my space, let me just work it out here. Let me change my ink. Right, so it will be simplifying the numerator, the denominator. You have to maintain it. Don't ever simplify it, just maintain it. Then here, it will be 6x minus x. It will be 5x. Then minus x squared minus 6 greater than 0. Then express the numerator as a quadratic expression. It will be minus x squared plus 5x minus 6. Then over 6 x plus 1 is greater than 0. Like this. Please take note, this one is minus x squared. It's minus x squared. Then factorize the numerator. Factorize the numerator. You find factors of this one. You know how to factorize, right? This numerator. So what are the factors in this case? Let's what you can do, you can just take this one, then factorize it. Let me factorize it here. Let me take this one, minus x squared plus 5x minus 6. To factorize, multiply this and this. So it will be plus 6x squared. Like this. Then you find two numbers, which when you multiply, they give us plus 6x squared. When you add or subtract them, they give us plus 5x. In this case, it's 2 and 3, plus 2x and plus 3x. So that will work. So plus 2x and plus 3x. So you replace the middle value, which is 5x, with the factors, then minus 6, like this. Then you get what you get here. It will be, you factor out, you can factor out minus x, you can factor out x here. What can we factor? Let's factor out minus x. Or let's just factor out x. Then you get minus x, then plus 2, like this. Then on this one, let's also factor out minus 3, so that it will be the same. So you get minus x plus 2, like this. Then you write minus x plus 2, then x minus 3. Minus x plus 2 is the same as x plus 2. Let me write the factors here. X is the same as 2 minus x. Let me write here as 2 minus x, then x minus 3 over 6x plus 1 is greater than 0. So these are my factors. These are my factors now. I replace the numerator. Right. Then the critical values. How do you find them? First you write 2 minus x is equals to 0. Then x minus 3 is equals to 0. Then 6x plus 1 is equals to 0. Then from this one, you get 2 is equals to x. So x is equals to 2. On the second one, you get x is equals to 3 right away. On this one, you can remove the bracket. 6x plus 6 is equals to 0. Then 6x is equals to minus 6. Then divide by x, divide by 6, by 6 both sides, you get x is equals to minus 1. So these are the critical values. Critical values, you get, here we have minus 1, 2, and 3. So we have 3 critical values. Let's now draw our table of signs. Right, so it's like this. Right, the first one, x less than the smallest one, is minus 1, followed by x lies between minus 1 and 2, followed by x lies between 2 and 3, followed by x greater than 3, like this. Then let's find our test values. Right, we can use what? X less than minus 1, we can take minus 2. X between minus 1 and 2, we can take 1. X between 2 and 3, we can take 2.5. X between greater than 3, you can take 4 or even 5. Still it works. Right, done. Then now we take our factors. So first we have 2 minus x. These factors here, this here. So you have 2 minus x, then x minus 3, then you have 6x plus 1. So first we have 2 minus x, followed by x minus 3, then followed by 6x, so you have 6, then x plus 1. 6, then x plus 1, like this. Then followed by our function. So it's 2 minus x, x minus 3 over 6x plus 1. Right, done. Right, now let's move on to determine our signs. Determining our signs. On the first one, 2 minus x. You can put minus 2 where there is x. It will be 2 minus minus 2 is plus 4. So it will be a positive sign. Then you put 1 where there is x. 2 minus 1 is plus 1, positive. Then you put 2.5. 2 minus 2.5 is minus 0.5, it's negative. Then you put 5. 2 minus 5 is minus 3, negative. Right, remove on. X minus 3, you put minus 2 where there is x. Then it will be minus 2 where there is x. It's minus 2 minus 3. It's minus 5. It's negative. Then you put 1. 1 minus 3. It's minus 2. It's negative. Put 2.5. 2.5 minus 3. It's negative. Put 5. 5 minus 3 is positive 2. It's positive. Like this. Right. Then move on to this one. 6. Then x plus 1 in the brackets. Put x minus 2. Minus 2 plus 1, it will be negative. Even if you can multiply by 6, the answer will still be negative. So it will be negative here. Then put x1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 times 6 is positive 12. Positive. Put 2.5. 2.5 plus 1. 3.5 times 6 is positive. Then put 5. 5 plus 1. 6 by 6. Positive 36. So it's positive. Now determining the sign of our function, it will be positive, negative, negative. What do you get? Positive. Then positive, negative, positive is negative. Negative, negative, positive is positive here. Negative, positive, positive is negative, like this. So you move on. Now you go up there. You check our sign, inequality sign. In this case, is this one, is greater than. Greater than, it means you take the positives. So you take the positive, it means this one and this one. The solution. So you take this and you take this one. So it will be solution. It will be x less than minus 1 or x lies between 2 and 3. Done. So these are inequalities. That's how you work out inequalities. The ego, say Mangeya. Watch out. So please, everything, most of the things basically they are there on my YouTube channel. You can check at Lakson Mangeya. You get blessed, actually. Get blessed. Enjoy my videos. Thank you.